Okay, this is going to be a crash course review of some of the basic stuff that you need to know to do this course. Now, pretty much all of you have taken a second year CAD course in Catia, and therefore you have seen some of the elements, but you may have forgotten some of the basic things that you needed to do for Catia settings. Okay, first of all, in order to get into the Catia different workbenches, you can navigate through the main toolbar, start toolbar. But if there are certain things that you use very often, perhaps you can customize your environment so that you don't have to go through this maze. Okay, so here's what you're going to do. So you go to Tools, Customize. This dialog box shows up, and here you can select the toolbars that you want to have at your fingertip. For example, let's say part design. This is alphabetical, so you go to part design, and let's see if you can find it. It's right here, part design. You click on this arrow, so that's going to be one of the things that you're going to be able to see to access right away. The other one is, let's say, assembly design. So here is the assembly design. You want to have that at your fingertip. Okay. Another one that we use in this course is, for example, wireframe and surface design, or generative shape design. Generative shape design is a more elaborate version of the wireframe and surface design. So let me find it for you. Generative shape design. This is alphabetical, and right here, generative shape design. Another one is digital mockup, DMU kinematics. So let's see, DMU kinematics. We use this thing very often, this term, 4 weeks of it. And then generative structure analysis. That's a finite element module. Generative structure analysis right there. And advanced meshing tool. Let's see if I can find advanced meshing tool here. Advanced meshing tool. There. Okay. So right now, this is all I need to do. So we say close. Now notice that over here, well, first of all, if you go to start, you see that everything that you selected is on the top. You don't have to navigate through here to get to part design. And the other quick way of getting into it, just click on the icon right up there, whatever it is. It tells you what are your favorite or most often used workbenches. So let me click on the part design here, right there. Say OK. So a part file is opened up. Okay. Now let me make a quick part. Just for example, a box. Okay. So on a convenient plane, on that plane, you draw a rectangle, exit, and pad it. Good. Okay. First of all, here's your tree. Here's your tree. If you put the cursor on any of these white branches and you left click on it, notice this becomes dim. And that means that you have selected the tree. Now, why would you want to select the tree? Maybe you want to move it. You see this? Middle mouse button down and move it. Maybe you want to make it smaller or bigger. Middle mouse button down, one right click, and then bigger or smaller. Right? Okay. Now, if you want to get this thing back, while you have selected the tree where this is dim, there's not much you can do with this object. You cannot, rotate. You cannot pan, zoom, or basically can't do any operation. Now you have to let this thing go. There's two ways to let this thing go. Either you put the cursor back on the white branches, click on it, or you go to this coordinate system down here, you click on it. Now you have it at your disposal. Okay. The other thing is that the F3 button. F3 button hides and restores the tree. Hides, restores the tree. Hides, restores the tree. Okay, good. So if you don't see the tree, try F3. But sometimes you have made this thing so small that you can't even see it. Let me give you an example. Let me select the tree and make it extremely small. Right there in that corner. See that? In that corner. You can't even see it. Maybe you can't even see it. And you wonder what happened. If clicking on F3 is not going to do you any good, because look, I'm hitting the F3 and I still don't know where the tree is. Of course, here I know where it is. It's right on that corner. But what you should do is you should go and select, click on this coordinate system. That means the tree is going to get selected. See that? The tree is selected, right? Because the box is the object that you created is dim. Now you can go and say fit it. So the tree has been selected and you say fit all. There. You don't know how many times people don't know what happened to the tree because they made it so small, either accidentally or on purpose, that they can't access it. So when you're done, just get your part back. Okay. Let me actually go to this sketch and put some dimensions here. Here's a dimension. Right now it is in inches. If you double click on it, it says inches. And by the same token, the angle, okay? The angle, we're never going to change it to radians, but it is possible. The angle, we use it always as degrees. Suppose that we wanted to change our units to maybe millimeters as far as length goes. So here's what you do. Tools, options, open this dialog box where you can do basically it's creating a CAD setting file. Okay, now first of all, if you select any of these branches, the same way that you can make it small or large, another one, middle mouse button down, one right click of the mouse button, and then let it go. It allows you to make it smaller or bigger. It's not any different from the tree that you see over there. And when you're done, just let it go. Now, for setting your units, let's actually look at the display first. You click on display, and then visualization. You can set the color, the background color, okay? And I've used this default one, which is blue. You can ask it to be graduated or not. See that? If I say uncheck it, see how it's not graduated anymore here? Same thing is going to appear on your screen. So I'll keep it graduated. All right, and then you can change a whole bunch of things, you know, as far as edges and things like that. But anyway, let me also click on this performance. This performance, when you get a jagged arcs and things like that, you play with this so that it's no longer jagged. Okay. Usually I don't have to fool around with it, but if I see something on the screen which is supposed to be nice and round, but it's not, it's in the form of polygon, I come here and play with these two basically. For now, it's all right. Now, as far as a unit goes, you go to parameter in the tree. This is very important. Parameters and measures, units. Now, you have to change things one by one, and you decide. For example, there is no such a thing, give me everything in imperial unit or give me everything in SI units, etc. For example, if I want to change my length from inches to millimeter, you obviously length is selected here, and you pull it down and you say millimeter. From now on, it's going to be millimeter. If you have something that is not where you are looking for, just click on the magnitude here, and it puts it in alphabetical order. It sorts it out in the alphabetical order. For example, let's say angle. So angle, I put it in alphabetical order so I can easily find it. Not angular jerk, angle. and the default is degrees. You can change it to radians, etc., but we'll keep it as degrees. Okay, so say, all right, now if I go to the sketch, notice that it turned into millimeter. Now, of course, remember in Catia you can type things as long as you know what your unit is. For example, say NIN, automatically it's going to convert it into millimeter, 254 millimeter. Okay, good. Now, what else I want to do? Exit. Okay, so let me create some parameters for you. Okay, this is the stuff that we do in the second day. Now, remember how to do parameter. I go here, I go there, f of x, and suppose I make a parameter. Well, you can make obviously parameters of different type. So let us make, for example, of type length, and you click on this new parameter type. You give it a name that you want. I'll call it h, okay, and the value of it equal to 5. Okay, apply, and okay. All right. So we did create a parameter, but is there a way we can make it show on in the tree? Remember, renaming will not make it show on the screen, but when you create parameters, you can show it. So you go to Tools, Options. Under Infrastructure, here's the infrastructure tree. Select the part infrastructure. See right there, part infrastructure. Under the Display tab, you say, show me the parameter and show me any equations. Parameter, of course, is self-explanatory, but relations is equations that I don't have any right now, but I'm going to create one. Say OK. Notice that I did create a parameter, which is right here. Okay, and it shows on the screen. Now, suppose I'm going to make the dimension of this thing, remember that dimension that I put up there, equal to h. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. F of x, click on the screen. I want this thing, this dimension, to be equal to h. So add a formula equal to, if you know what your parameter was, type it. If you don't know, select it from the screen, rename parameter, double click on this. Or you can actually select it from here, and it's going to put it right there. So this dimension equal to h. And we say OK. What it does, it puts an f of x here for you to remind you that this is equal to the value of h that you specify. All right. Let me, by the way, close this for now. Now 5 millimeter is that. So if I change this 5 to 50, there we are. Change it to 100. There we are. Okay. Now, relations, remember I created an equation, a formula. I said that this dimension is equal to h. So there it is in the tree. If I had not checked the relations box, this equation would not have shown. For example, Tools, Options. Remember where we were? Let me check off the relations. The equation disappeared. But I wanted to see it. Tools, Options. Remember, it was infrastructure, part infrastructure, and relations. We say OK. Now, there's something else that you should know. And when it comes to parameters, you may appear in a different way so that it's put in quotations and things like that. So let's go back to Tools, Options. Under the General, actually not the General, if you go under the Display here, the Display, see that? Let me see. Do I want it under Display? Maybe not. Under Parameters and Units, right here. You see that? Right there. It says Parameter Tree View with Values with Formula. So let me just uncheck with value and see what happens. You see that? The parameter appears, but the value is not shown. If I double click on it, of course, it tells me what it is. So let's go back here, tools, options. It was under parameter and measure. Put this thing back on, okay? And see that here it says surrounded by symbol quotation. If I check this and go there, you see that it puts it in quotations. Okay. I may not want it, so that's fine. So let's go back here, tools, options. Let's get this thing out. Now, what else? This formula, I don't know how. Well, let me uncheck this. Let me uncheck that and see what happens. Now, I'm not exactly sure what it says with formula. I'm not sure what that thing does. So let's leave it the way it is. Not critical for us. So see now, options. I said I don't know. If you see things that you don't know, try to Google it. And all of these things I'm telling you are already on internet, already on YouTube, but I'm trying to put it together in a rather ad hoc way so that you can use it. Now remember, design table. If you create a design table, as a matter of fact, let me go ahead and create a design table for you. So for example, okay, so let me go ahead and just make something. Where is the design table? There it is. You click on it and create a design table. Sure, with current current values. Say OK. Let me, for example, say show me all the renamed stuff. There's only one thing that I renamed. Well, actually, I did not rename here. I created the parameter. Okay, just there's a distinction between renaming and parameters. So let's say just send it there. OK. A design table, where do you want to put it? Let's say on the desktop. Just wait for it. It's not important what we have done here. Here is your design table. Remember, this is not renaming. This is a parameter. You say OK. Now, notice that this relations also shows you a design table. And if you want to access that design table, just double click on it and it's going to pop up. If you cannot see that in your tree, it's going to be hard to modify your design table or access it, okay? Now, notice that if I go to tools, options, and under infrastructure right there, infrastructure, part infrastructure, and I say, okay, don't show me the relations. Formula is going to be gone. Design table is going to be gone. Let me see. Undo is not going to, undo, I don't think it's going to bring it back. But you have to go and activate if you want. Tools, options. Show me the relation, which means it's going to show me any equations that I may have had or the design table. I think I deleted my design table. I undid it a couple of times. I undid it. Now, one other thing, when you create parameters at the assembly level, and we're going to do that in problems which have parameterizing an assembly or creating design table for an assembly, then the way you have to activate those parameters are going to be like that. It's different, okay? Tools, options, infrastructure, yes, sure, but then product structure, and you go scroll down the tab, take all these tabs, go to the last one. You see that? Here it says parameters not activated. So you say activate, you select this and you say activate, then parameters created at the assembly level, the only way to make them show in the tree is by doing this. In other words, infrastructure, product structure, scroll down the tab, tree customization, and whatever is not showing, and say activate. Now, if you do that, if you have I can't do it here because this is not an assembly, this is a part, those things are going to appear way down here, okay? Not inside of a part, but way at the bottom. And any equations that are created there are also going to appear way at the bottom. All right, that takes care of what I wanted to tell you. I hope that you don't have a problem with these, because these are basic things you have to sort out on the final exam day or in the midterm. If you ask, we're not going to tell you about these things. By the way, to access your relationships, you can either double click here and the equation is going to pop up, equation editor, or you can go to f of x. Where am I? Well, notice that I'm not in part design anymore. Oh, when I double clicked on it, it put me in a different workbench. You can always go to your part design by doing this, but it's not important. Okay, so let's go to part design. You don't have to do that. There is your f of x. You can click on f of x, and if you click on this, you're going to get your equation. But let me see now. Can you yeah, let's click on that. There we are. This is the equation that you have. One other thing, sometimes you see your true or false for something. For example, let me show you one. Let's say that we go and make a fillet, a surface fillet on that edge. So for the fillets, right here, on the dress up feature. So let's say we make a fillet here. You can see that, right? Okay, good. So if you go to f of x, and click on the part, everything that you have done is going to appear. Radius of the fillet, those dimensions that you put in there, etc. If you click on the fillet, see that? There's the radius of the fillet. If you select this thing and turn it to false, see that? I selected that and I turn it into false. Look at what happens to the tree here. This becomes inactive. See that? Inactive. Say OK. The fillet is gone. To get it back, one way, either go back and turn it into true, or select this, right click and say activate. There we are. Now if you go to f of x and you select this, notice it turns into true. All right. These things gradually you're going to pick it up. Some of them are critical, because if you don't know it, you're going to have a tough time for the first few weeks, but you have to practice. All right, guys.